This is NR2003 Predicts. We take the entry list of NASCAR's top 3 series, send them through the ratings algorithm, and see who comes out on top. Here's a few tidbits to know heading in. The driver ratings are updated race by race to reflect the performance of that driver throughout the season, as well as at that specific track in recent years. The races are at 100% length and use normal tire and fuel wear. The starting lineup will match the real-life qualifying using the provisional starting order, not the one that includes drivers heading to the back. The weather will match the real-life start time data, and commentary will match the real-life scenarios, not the standings that will be posted at the end of the video. And as always, this series is for entertainment purposes only. Using artificial intelligence and using the results of this race for gambling purposes is discouraged. Quite a bit of racing action before the Cup Series race. In the Truck Series, Zane Smith would get to the line first, his second victory of the season, followed by Ben Rhodes, who got the victory last week at Darlington. Austin Hill, Derek Kraus fighting for a playoff spot, and Brett Moffitt all up there in the top 5. A solid run for David Reagan up there in 11th spot, while for Trevor Bayne still struggling back there in 32nd, now sitting in the seat that Ty Majeski had all season long. In the Xfinity Series, 2 races on the weekend. Austin Cindric would win the first one, followed by Riley Herbst, Ross Chastain, Chase Briscoe, and Harrison Burton. Last week's winner, Brandon Jones, in 11th. And if you're wondering where Kyle Busch is, well, he had a couple problems throughout the race, got involved in an accident, and then had a tire go down, so he ended up in 21st position. Michael Annett also having some issues down there in 35th, also a part of that accident we saw Kyle Busch in. And in the second race, it would be Ross Chastain getting to the line first, followed by Briscoe, Burton, Gregson, and Gralla. Brandon Brown right around those guys that he's trying to compete for a playoff spot, while Ryan Sieg did not have a solid day, back there in the 27th position. And the rest of the field back here, Joe Graff Jr. finishing 32nd, not a very solid day for the SS Green Light Machine. Now we move on to the Cup Series. Kevin Harvick, the winner last week at Darlington, leading the way, followed by Joey Logano to his outside. Green flag flying here for the second race of the playoffs. Harvick gets that inside line jump, pulls up in front of the 22 car, who's going to slot down to the inside now, fill the spot. Now the race off for another 399 laps. Kyle Busch, the best driver here, 6.8 average finish. He's well ahead of his teammate Denny Hamlin and Kevin Harvick, all of whom are ahead of 10th place on average. And now we see Harvick trying to battle with some lap traffic as Brad Keselowski tries to go to the inside. However, Harvick making that outside line work, or at least trying to get around that heavy traffic, and he is going to pull away. 3 victories at this racetrack. Kyle Busch has 6. Trying to see if he can add to that total, as he's been adding to his season total. And now Keselowski, though, he's trying to make a move to the inside, and this time no traffic ahead of him. And it looks like he'll be able to pull away on the inside and get the lead. Top 5-wise, Kyle Busch and Harvick leading the way. Denny Hamlin, though, has 13 top 5s here at one of his home tracks. A Virginia native trying to do well here. See back here Ryan Newman, 20 top 10s. He's actually pretty solid at this racetrack, but not doing too well right now. As you can see, he's going to the inside of Ryan Blaney, one of the playoff contenders, who is actually sliding back. He is not having a good night so far in this first stage. Martin Truex Jr. trying to work his way up, and we can see Kevin Harvick starting to slide back as he's had quite a few drivers get to his inside. William Byron, Kurt Busch, Denny Hamlin working on him, and Truex starting to pull ahead. 4 cars starting to drop back after leading the first part of this stage. Keselowski, though, took the lead and hasn't looked back, as he will come across to the start-finish line and take stage 1, followed by Hamlin, Truex Jr., Kurt Busch, and Harvick will grab 5th place. William Byron there in 6th. All playoff contenders in the top 10, all trying to gain some valuable points to make sure they advance to get to the championship 4. After the pit stops, Keselowski will still lead, followed by Hamlin, Truex Jr. But here comes Kevin Harvick. He took advantage of getting those early adjustments, and he is rocketing to the front. No momentum lost from that weekend back at Darlington. He might have been able to luck into that victory, but he is definitely showing that it is helping the program out get that momentum, as we see Chase Elliott trying to work to the inside of his teammate. Alex Bowman has quite a few Hendrick drivers right here in this pack. They're trying to catch up to their teammate William Byron, and actually it looks like they have managed to do that a few laps later, as now Byron working to the inside of Clint Bowyer. Bowyer right on the cut line. He needs to start working for some points. Byron's not too far ahead, so he doesn't want to be any further away. We see here a problem for Bubba Wallace. He has a tire going down, And he's going to slide through turn 3, and he's going to hit Matt Kenseth. And Quinn Houff takes a hard hit. And look at the leader, Kevin Harvick, just barely sliding through that one. That could have been a disaster for the 4-car. Really dodged a bullet there, but that is going to bring out the caution, the first one for an incident. Now Harvick will pull away. Lucky that he had no damage from that one. See Austin Dillon here. He had a fabulous second-place finish back at Darlington, but it looks like that momentum has not carried through, as now the 4-car leading the way is going to get to his inside and put him a lap down. But really showed well as a playoff driver who got that victory at Texas. Now trying to see if he can maintain that and get himself into the next round, as you see Matt Benedetto trying to hold off Kyle Busch for the top 10 spot. Faring pretty well right here. And now we see William Byron on the inside line, but Kevin Harvick working that outside line. You would think this inside line would work better, but Harvick showing the way on the outside, as now he tries to work his way to the inside of Kyle Busch. He's already put Benedetto and Elliott a lap down, which is not what the 9-car wanted to see, although he is still in the top 10. And Harvick's trying to work his way through as many cars as he can before the end of stage 2. Harvick, Hamlin, Truex Jr., Boyer, and Logano making up the top 5 in this stage. And he was able to put everyone up to Kurt Busch a lap down before we got to the end of this stage. So not many competitors for Harvick trying to move forward. He's really dictating the pace, but still a few contenders, including Denny Hamlin just behind him. Although we're going to have problems here. Benedetto going to get contact from the 66, and he's going to go around right in front of the field. Everyone scattering to find a way through. There's going to be several cars destroyed in this one. Maybe not out of the race, but definitely experiencing problems. 47 hit the inside wall. Obviously the 21-13 smashed in there. 24 goes around in a chain reaction, and a 51 plows in the back of him. So major front-end damage for the 51, back-end damage for the 24. The 12 car was also involved. There's about 5 cars that got involved after the 66 hit the 21. Oh, and a problem here for Kurt Busch after the green flag. He had a tire go down, and he just had it at the worst possible spot as you're passing pit lane. He has to wheel that around for a full lap. Going to cost him a lot of time. Big issue for a playoff driver, but we see here Denny Hamlin is working his way up toward Kevin Harvick. He is not pulling away yet. And he's going to dive it down here in the turn 3, and he's going to try to make a pass for the lead. So that's going to be a big opportunity for the 11 team to try to advance themselves into the next round, although they are pretty well off at the moment. Nothing wrong with guaranteeing your spot and building your playoff points, but problems here in turn 3. John Hunter Nemechek getting turned around by Eric Jones. He'll go for a spin. No harm, no foul, despite the fact that he might lose a couple positions and maybe a few hurt feelings, but that will bring out another caution that puts Hamlin back in the front. Kevin Harvick trying to wheel his way back up toward him. You can see that damage is really affecting the 21 car. A lot of crunch in that back end, but obviously still maintaining minimum speed. It's going to be a really tough round for him. William Byron also experienced some back end damage after his accident with Joey Gase getting into the back of him, and Harvick is not able to maintain pace with the 11. This is a bit surprising. The 4 car has been dictating the pace throughout this race, but now it's the 11 that's getting ahead as he's working his way to the inside of the 19, and he's already put the 18 down another lap as well. So Joe gives racing guys here, but no team orders. The 11 car is getting as far ahead as he can. And he's got about a 7-second gap on the field with just over 10 laps to go. But he's coming down a pit lane. 3 laps to go, and the 11 car is headed to pit lane. Could he be out of gas? They came down pretty close to the pit window, but did they not pack it full of fuel? Or do they think they can't make it without losing valuable spots? Now the 4 car inherits the lead, and they came down at the same lap, but they are still going to go ahead and go for the win. Chase Elliott was also down on pit lane. Might have seen one other as well, but the 4 car pitted at the same time as the 11 did, but he might have just walked into this victory coming out of turn 4. He is not out of fuel. Kevin Harvick going to steal one away here in Richmond. What a turn of events there. Caution coming out at an inopportune time as teams try to gamble with their fuel. And I guess the 11 car didn't have enough. as they come down right at the end of this race and gives the victory over to the 4 car, who looks like they had a fast car throughout the race, but didn't look like they had it at the end until that happened. Keselowski comes in at second. A great day for Clint Bowyer in third. Logano and Truex Jr. rounding out the top 5. Hamlin only drops down to 7th, but loses 2 laps in the process. Chase Elliott was also down on pit lane. He dropped back to 10th place. Johnson in 11th. William Byron, the next playoff driver, outside that top 10. 4 laps down. He had a few issues throughout the night. Ryan Blaney, he was kind of slow at the start, but pulls it back to 15th. And Austin Dillon there in 17th. And issues for Matt DiBenedetto. He had all that damage. He finished in the 22nd position. Kurt Busch might have had some damage in that accident as well. Finishes 23rd, and Cole Custer 26th. Rounding out the playoff drivers, although he didn't seem to have any issues. Just might have been that slow throughout the night. So that's going to shake up the playoff standings a little bit, but Kevin Harvick going to pull away with 2 victories on these playoffs. Going to help him a lot down the line, even more so than he already had. That is it for NR2003 Predicts. We hope you enjoyed the race, and we will see you all next time.